Hi friends, it's Kim back from Making Creative Memories in Time. Today I'm using the Life at the Lake collection and a beautiful 2-page sketch by Susan Stringfellow at sketchsavvy.blogspot.com, and that will be linked in the description box below. I want to apologize for the sun coming in on my window. At the time I was filming, I don't have a way to block the sun. My desk sits right in front of a window, and it does dissipate just a little as we go. So, thank you so much for watching this video. I would love for you to give me a like and subscribe. Be sure to hit that notification bell so that you're notified anytime I upload new content. Also, I do a lot of live teaching in my Facebook group. It is a public group that is linked in the description box below as well. And back to today's project, I am using Life at the Lake collection in a little non-traditional way. There were a couple papers that were just real outdoorsy. I call them Woodland critter papers. And so I am going to work on a Great Wolf Lodge double page spread, and I actually will end up turning this into an extended story. So I am getting started lining up the very busy Woodland critter paper, and to save this paper, instead of doing like a 7 by 9 inch block, I chose to just cut strips to save this paper. That way I'll be able to use this more throughout that extended story. And I absolutely love that plaid. I love this like log wood pattern. Absolutely love it. So here on the sketch, it shows that wood paper coming on out like another 2 inches. I did not want to do that because I did not want to cut into another piece of paper. I wanted to conserve my paper. So I chose intentionally not to let that wood paper extend on this side. I did think that the plaid paper is so beautiful. I am in love with this plaid paper, but it needed to be used in small amounts. And so one of the things that I hope to teach in today's video is you can use extremely busy pattern papers like the plaid, like the woodland critter, in small amounts paired with white space for great balance. And then when you add your photos, mat them in a way that they're really going to pop and stand out off the page. And then the busy pattern paper is not the focus of the page. That's the big lesson I want to teach today. So I have all of that adhered, and now I am going to work on this super cute little element at the top of the page. I absolutely love what this adds at the top of the page. I also feel like it balances out the page beautifully. So I am adding just a strip of the cabin paper, and then that is a 1/2 inch, and then I am adding a strip of the plaid, and absolutely love the way that this looks together. This Life on the Lake paper has absolutely been one of my favorite collections. I have created so many different layouts, so many different techniques and styles using this paper, and I have so much more left to work with. But this will be my last video in this series. I may, when this extended story is finished, I may come back and do like a flip through of the extended story. So here's a look at the right page. I started on that page instead of the left page because that page is more heavily concentrated with the pattern papers. And so I started there. And here I'm just showing how that upper at the main top of the page, how that really just pulls that page together. And then we'll be ready to start working on the left page. And you'll see me pulling my ruler. Everything lines up 1 inch from the bottom. And I basically just start at the bottom and work my way up. making sure that everything matches. And here I'm just showing, that your measurements are on both sides of your mat. If you're using any type of mat, glass board, anything that's marked with measurements, that makes it really easy to use your ruler and line that up. And now we're going to come in with this plaid paper. Absolutely love me some plaid. This is a beautiful masculine paper as well. And then we will attach that wood paper. Love that wood paper. It was, this paper, this side of the paper was absolutely perfect for documenting Great Wolf Lodge. And here we go, just butting those edges up, making sure everything is nice and straight. And then we're going to come in with that final piece of Woodland Critter. I'm just calling it Woodland Critter because it has deer, it has ducks, it has trees. I think there might even be a moose on there. It's just beautiful paper. And we're just going to make sure this is all aligned. And then I'm going to flip back upside down and work on this top piece to the left page. You don't see me do it on camera. I edited that out, but when I flipped upside down, I actually reversed these two pieces. So if you flip upside down to keep your head from going in the camera, make sure you pay attention to the pages where they need to be. And then adhere. I had to pull mine off and redo. So see, now the plaid is going to match up. This is beautiful. I'm so happy with how this turned out. Absolutely beautiful. So now we're going to come back and look at the sketch. And I used some matte stack cards to create these elements. And on these matte stack cards, what I'm pointing out here is that I am making sure that my elements, my lines are running horizontally. And we want to make sure that anytime we're working with those on this particular layout, that we pay attention and make sure that our lines are running horizontally. We do not want any going vertically and horizontally. So I cut my circle in half, and that's going to be that upper part of that cluster element there. I love anchoring cluster elements with circles. So I'm pulling an old stamp from my stash. And this stamp is absolutely beautiful. It comes from the Fresh Air collection. And I absolutely love this stamp set. I do not have die cuts for this one. It's just the stamp. And I love this quote. And it says, we didn't realize we were making memories. We just thought we were having fun. Or something to that effect. And I absolutely love this. I am going to adhere it to a block. And I am using my foam sheet behind so that I can get a more crisp image when I stamp. And I'm going to use Archival Black ink. Archival Black ink is really great to stamp a title. It's crisp. It's a beautiful black. And so the thing I love about using clear stamps when I stamp on scrapbook pages is you can see that your stamp is completely inked up. Now here's something, I apologize for my head popping in the camera there, but I needed to have more of a bird's eye view. I'm stamping over that layer of the sort of lagoon or aqua circle, and there is going to be a teeny tiny gap between those two letters where that circle is. So you're going to see me bring in my journal pen, and all I'm going to do is just try to use my black pen and fill in that gap. And once that gap is filled in, I will hold it up and you'll be able to see that it did pretty well. But anytime you stamp over a layer, you will get that sort of little gap, and you'll just need to find a way to fill that in and make that look good. So that's going to be the beginning of that cluster element there. And then I'm going to continue to work around dropping my photos, just dry fitting. Where do I want them? how am I going to put the other elements in? And you'll see me keep pulling the sketch in and referring to the sketch. And another thing I want to focus on in this video today is don't be afraid to go to Pinterest and find sketches. Just give credit to the sketch artist. So here I'm pulling in my Border Maker system and the Notebook Border Maker cartridge, and I have cropped out a matte stack journal card, and just according to the sketch, there was that like notebook look. Now I wanted to mat this on black paper, but then I realized there wouldn't be the black mat behind the notebook paper because I still wanted that part to look torn, and I didn't want the black like to just be behind it. So what I'm doing here is I'm trimming off those rounded edges of this journal card because there's no other, on the photos or any of the paper, there's no other rounded edges. And I lay that down and I'm like, there has to be a way that I can really make this stand out. So you're going to see me pull in my mat, my all-purpose mat. I'm going to pull in my ruler. And I'm going to pull in, I start with a journal pen, and now my journal pen is a very fine point, and I knew that would take me forever. So then I pull in my Sharpie marker, and all I'm going to do is go straight down the edge. Now, I don't know that you could see in the video, but the edge was like a very pale gray. But to make this stand out on this page, I'm really defining those black edges, just the edges, nowhere else. And so I'm using a Sharpie marker, and that's not really touching photos, so I don't have to worry about whether or not it's photo safe. It's not going to hurt anything on the page. If you use any type of pen and a ruler, always clean it because you don't want to later on put that on a white page and transfer an ink spot. Now we're going to commit the photos, and immediately you can see that by adding the photos, we are going to completely start changing the appearance of how busy that paper is. You can barely see bits and pieces of that busy paper at the top. You can see a little more of that Woodland critter busy paper at the bottom. And what's really standing out now on that left page are my photos. Again, I chose to mat them in black. I did not put a white photo mat behind them because these photos had a lot of white space in them as well. And now we're just going to think about where these little banners are going to go with that. First, I decided I wasn't going to adhere that down. And then I decided I needed to adhere that little notebook piece down because I'm going to stamp yet one more little circular element. These, again, are from my stash. And I love, my family are huge outdoor enthusiast. We love anything in the nature. We do cabins, we hike, we fish, we do trails. So my stash is pretty extensive when it comes to outdoor things. And here is just another little circular stamp that I am using that's going to finish off this little cluster for journaling. Now, again, I'm going to say that this is going to be an extended story. And so these 2 pages basically are going to be the beginning page and the end page of this extended story. And the rest of the story will be 8 by 8 and 6 3/4 by 10 pages that are in the center of this story. And so I will repeat the same elements on those pages. It will be the same papers. I'll continue to use outdoorsy stamps. You will see circle elements. You'll see all the things in this as the story continues. So the first circle element says, "Welcome to the wild, find your own way." And the one I just stamped, I love it because it's like a half moon and a wolf howling, and it says, "Find your wild." So I love that. Love that. And so I am now cutting my dovetails and just deciding where these are going to go. Deciding, do I want the plaid to stick out? All of those great things. And I love When it comes to, I love building clusters, I love embellishing, but when it comes to that, it takes me forever. Like, hit the like button if you're like me, and it just takes a while to finish, like decide where you want your cluster, where your elements are going to be placed, and what is going to happen in each cluster. So this is a close-up look at how that cluster turned out. And now we are continuing to add those cute little banners. And I just work around to make sure that I like the placement. And now we are going to commit with adhesive that little circle element that will finish that cluster off, or at least for now. You'll see me come back in a moment and continue to work on that. And now we're going to start building that element over on the right hand side of the page. I'm going to work sort of back and forth between the second half of that circle element from the matte stack card and the little tag. Now the tag is just there as an embellishment. It will not actually move out and be like a journal spot or anything. And now I'm going to look at how am I going to lay out this second circular cluster with those banners. And I'm just going to place them. I will fidget and fuss with these. And now I am going to dovetail. I love to dovetail. And looking back on this, I almost wish I had dovetailed the plaid pieces. And we're going to just fuss around with that for a minute, decide where we want it placed. Again, I love clusters, I love layering, I love embellishments. I fuss way too much with it. And something else I want to point out is when you build a cluster element over busy pattern paper, it does really help break up that pattern paper. Now we're going to commit to adhering the photos. Again, just look at the difference when you adhere photos with a black mat, and it takes up the majority of the space at the top of that Woodland Critter design paper. And then we're going to attach these two little elements. I'm going to just pull some twine from my stash, and I'm just going to do just a simple little knot on the twine and then trim off the excess. And again, that lends itself naturally just to the feel of the outdoorsy, woodsy feel of this layout. Love that. And then again, that is just from a matte stack. I'm going to attach that. And then I'm going to come back to that circular cluster with the banners, and we're going to commit now. So we are putting down that little circle element first, and then you will see me fuss again. I have fussed so much with these little banners. Do I want them sticking out as far as the banners on the other side? Do I want them tucked in a little more? So you'll just sort of see that fuss happen here and there. And then I eventually get happy with where they're placed. And eventually I'm going to get happy. And then I will move on to that upper cluster element where the title is. And I pull out some stamps and I think about different things I could add. I do find this one embellishment that has like the leaves and the pine sprig in it. There's a good close-up look at that. I do want that in there, and so I am going to attach that down. I love that that pulls the color up. I love that. I'm going to snip that excess off, and I am not going to let any excess go to waste, so you are going to see me attach that at the bottom of that notebook journal card. That's just going to add a little something, and I feel like it really finishes off that card because it was just sort of plain at the bottom and I didn't draw a black line across the bottom. There's a little better look at that. And then when I make my final decision on what else is going to come up there in that cluster, you'll see me move some more things. I started stamping a pine sprig, and I wasn't happy with what that pine sprig looked like. So I pulled sticker sheets, and I had 2 more stickers of just the pine sprig. So I'm going to fuss around a little bit with both of those stickers, and I will actually have to remove that one element, the leaf element at the top, because I'm not happy with this. There, you're going to see that I change it around a little bit. I snip that off. And don't worry about the piece you just saw fall, because it was not attached yet. I was just dry fitting that. Now I'm going to take this excess piece yet again and add to the bottom of that journal card. And it's going to tuck right up under that circle element. And that is going to make for what I think is a perfect finishing touch at the very bottom of that journal card. I love it. Love it. And now I'm going to adhere. That's just binoculars, a compass, and a map, and it just adds, to me, it just finishes off that cluster. I'm looking one more time at the stickers to see if there's anything else I want to pull to go over on the other side. I did find this cluster of 3 trees, but it was way too blue, and no matter where I moved it, I just wasn't happy with it. And then I find this sticker that says Happy Trails. I think that may look cute, but then again, it's just too, that sticker for me is just too much like to use on a hiking page. And so now I am pulling in just a spatter stamp from a really old stamp collection in my stash. And I am just going to go around. Now, the thing that I like to do about clusters is I like them to touch and overlap. And so in this video, you're going to see me stamping directly into the cluster and extremely close to the cluster. I even stamped on that pattern paper. In person, your real eye sees that, and it just helps really pull that cluster together and finish it off. And so here I'm just going to add a little stamping just everywhere I did a cluster. And in the upper right corner, I added some at the top just because I felt that looked a little bare up there. And so those ink spatters are finished. Again, I did those in Archival Black. And now I feel like there's just one more little thing missing. So I pull in some Lagoon enamel dots, and I am going to start attaching. In this first cluster, I put 3. And then I am going to move over to the cluster by the journal card. And again, I am going to do 3 in this cluster. I like 3s. Then I'm going to go up to that title cluster. Again, I'm going to do 3. I think I'm finished at this point. And I think I am going to show you what all of these little clusters look like. Give you a good close-up. Love how that turned out. And the lagoon really looks pretty with this in person. And then when I pull it up and I take a closer look at it, I'm thinking to myself, I need to add some of those enamel dots up there at that top with those ink spatters. And so you're going to see me pull in. I put 2 down initially, and then I audition a 3rd, and then I think better about it, and I don't stick a 3rd down. I feel like because that's a small spot, just 2 is all I need. And this process is complete. I'm going to give you an overall look. I absolutely love using the backside of Life on the Lake, which is a little more woodsy, and perfect for cabin photos, perfect for lodge, Great Wolf Lodge. And I really like how this page turned out. If you like it, be sure to leave a comment. Give this video a like and subscribe. When you even give a like, you help me in the YouTube algorithm, and it lets YouTube know that you like the types of videos that I am creating, and I appreciate it so very much. Thanks, and happy scrapping!